Alright, as you can see, today we are going to be reviewing, and it's really kind of an unboxing, review, discussion of the Teen Titans deck building game. I have not looked at any of the cards that have come out of the set yet, so I'll be discovering them right along with you. Move this up without hopefully getting wonky. First thing we're going to do, we'll take a look at the heroes that come in the set. Let's see if I can get a nice, good shot. Alright, so we start with Red Robin. Tim Drake. Once during each of your turns, if you control 2 or more heroes plus 1 power and put an equipment from your discard pile into your hand. That's not bad. I think that's fairly reasonable. I think it's fairly attainable. That's with the Cryptozoic deck building games, I find them to be hit or miss. My group gets the most usage out of the Forever Evil set. We found the heroes very unbalanced. The hero sets are very unbalanced, especially that first box set. We found there are kind of 3 tiers of heroes. That you can play garbage heroes, reasonable heroes, and then there's like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, who we just felt they were just way overpowered. Things get a little bit better in the Crisis version of the game, but that has its own problems that we found. So we get our most use. We play Forever Evil almost every time we get together. We think that's very balanced. What we look for in the characters we play, heroes in Teen Titans and the other deck building games and villains in Forever Evil, we like their abilities to be fairly attainable and balanced. And I think this is both of those. I think that controlling 2 or more heroes, not that unreasonable. Get +1 power, and you can put an equipment from your discard pile into your hand. I think that's useful, attainable, and not overpowered. Next, we have Beast Boy. Once during each of your turns, you may discard a card. If you do, put a non-starter card with that type of card and cost 6 or less from your discard pile into your hand. So once during each of your turns, you can discard a card to put a non-starter card with the same card type that costs 6 or less from the discard pile into your hand. That's not bad. Being 6 or less means it's going to keep the power cards from just being cycled constantly till you lose your discard pile. And it lets you get rid of some garbage cards in your hand for maybe something more useful. No, I think that works well. I think that's a good ability. I think it's an ability that's going to make somebody want to play a character that somebody might not want to play otherwise. I don't think Beast Boy is going to be very popular in my group of friends. Superboy. And if you can hear the mowing, my wife's out mowing the yard. Which means my allergies could kick in, because I took an antihistamine earlier in the day, but here we are very much later in the day. So Superboy. Once during each of your turns, if you control 2 or more different superpowers, +1 power and draw a card. Again, easily attainable, not overpowering, +1 power and drawing a card, and easily attainable by playing superpowers. So I think it fits the character. I think it's a decent ability. Very nice. I like it. Blue Beetle. Once during each of your turns, if you control 7 or more cards, draw a card. In this game, if I remember correctly, you start with 6 cards. I think you have 12 cards to start your deck, and then your starting hand with 6. Yoda! We play a lot of different card games, and they all have different hand sizes and whatnot. But I think the hand size in this is 6. So you need to find a way to draw a card. This is the first ability I'm kind of iffy on, just because now you're starting to have to get into cards that let you draw cards. And then the benefit is drawing a card. But I guess in the end, if you draw 1 card with Blue Beetle, you're actually drawing 2 the first time you do it, provided your hand hasn't been devastated by anything. So I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on. And I looked in the book here because I wanted to see if they had a definition of control, because we've seen that a couple times now. What does control mean? Let's see if I can... Nope, I'm not going to be able to. You control something that you currently have in play. You are in control of all ongoing cards that you have played and that are still in play in front of you. Oh, well, that's cool. So I'm assuming like locations and stuff will count for that as well. So that's not bad. Probably not my favorite of the abilities so far, but not bad. Starfire. Alright. Once during each of your turns, if you control 4 different card types, you may destroy a card you control. I might have a new least favorite ability. Having to control 4 different card types. And that's pretty much. You've got starter, equipment, hero, villain, superpower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential card types. I forgot location. You've got 6 potential card types, and she needs to control 4 of them to destroy a card. And I don't think weakness counts as anything. Let's see. Weakness counts as nothing. It's just got a green border. So I don't know. That'll be another one I'll have to see. And card destruction's always good, and having built-in card destruction's always good. And I guess if you went too far, maybe I could see it being too powerful. So I guess it's an ability that I'll have to see in play, but potentially pretty useful. Wonder Girl. See if I can get her without the glare here. And not my favorite costume of hers, but not bad anyway. Once during each of your turns, if you control 2 or more equipment, draw 2 cards and then discard a card. So that's not bad. Another one of those once during your turns, if you control 2 of a given type of cards, you get a slight benefit. And you have to draw 2 cards and then discard any card. So it's not like draw 2 cards and then discard one of those 2 cards, which is really useful. I really like this ability. I think this could be tremendously useful in the game. Raven. Once during each of your turns, if you control 2 or more villains, put a superpower from your discard pile into your hand. Now this one gets complicated, because now you're going for villains and superpowers. Potentially useful, although I guess Robin was heroes and equipment, so villains and superpowers, not that much of a stretch. And I think it fits the type of character that Raven is. I wish they had found better art, but I guess I'm not going to complain too much because I'm also not a huge fan of her new 52 outfit. Kid Flash. Whenever you buy or gain a card, you may add the top card of the main deck to the lineup. Alright, well there's officially my least favorite character. I guess at least he gets to replenish, unlike the other characters. So when you buy something, you immediately get something else that you can buy. And I think he was a promo. I think he's a promo for the first run of the set. I don't know if they've ever encountered a thing where they had a second run of one of these sets. But you're only going to be able to get him if you buy the first run of the Teen Titans. I mean, it's not even a sticker. They have a thing on there that says first printing promo inside. It's not even a sticker or anything. It's just printed on the box. So, I don't know. So the heroes are pretty good. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the heroes. I don't know that I really have a favorite. I think I would end up just going with my favorite characters. So I could see myself playing Robin, Superboy, Starfire, Wonder Girl. They're all pretty good. So next we'll take a look at your main enemies, your villains. Now this is another stickler for me and my group. They have you shuffle these, well, except for Deathstroke, who will always be your number 1 villain. Then you take the rest and you shuffle out 7 absolutely random villains. Now, the problem with that... the supervillain stack. Eight villains. For a longer game, use more than 8, no matter how many you Slade Wilson on the next text, blah, blah, blah. Set Slade Wilson and Trigon aside. Shuffle the remaining 10 supervillains face down, then randomly remove a number of cards you're going to play with from the stack. So Trigon must be their first, always last. Yeah. Which is good. I wish they had done something like that in previous, having an always last villain. Because by the time you get to the last character, the last hero or villain, you're generally not going to see him come back, or you're never gonna be able to play him. But here's the problem: say your next character, the next villain you face is Clock King. That's a bad example. Say the next villain you face is Dr. Light after Slade Wilson. He's 12. Well, after you're able to generate 12, generating 9 to defeat the Clock King is not that big of a deal. So my group tends to split things up. We do the first villain, then we take out the 9s and the 10s, and the 11s and the 12s, and take out a random number of each. And so it's a little tiered. There's other things you can do. We have a dice mechanic, so whenever you beat... For every other villain you beat, you increase the dice. You raise the dice by 1 level, and you increase the power of the villain by whatever number the die reads. But anyway, so the first one is Slade Wilson. He has an ongoing effect. At the start of each of your turns, you may draw until you have 5 cards in hand. Well, that's pretty neat. So ongoing is something new to Teen Titans. I don't believe that keyword really exists anywhere else. So ongoing. Let me read to you what it says for ongoing. Many cards in this set have the keyword ongoing. When you buy or gain a card with ongoing, it goes into your discard pile just like any other card. However, when you later draw and play an ongoing card, it will remain in play in front of you for the rest of the game, or until you use or lose it from play, which is often. An ongoing card in front of you that you control counts as in play just like any other card you played during your turn. They count as played only on the turn in which it entered play. Cards in the lineup or that a foe controls are never in play. So anyway, it stays in front of you. And so once you defeat Slade Wilson and manage to get him back out in play, at the start of each of your turns you may draw until you have 5 cards in hand. So I'm assuming a lot of the other villains are going to have first ambush attacks that knock cards out of your hand or something. It takes 8 to defeat him, and he gives you 4 victory points in the end of the game. Next, we have the Clock King. When you play him, he has a first appearance attack. Each player puts an equipment they control or in their hand into the lineup. That's rough. He is worth 5 victory points, takes 9 strength to defeat, and once you have him, you may gain all equipment in the lineup and put 1 into your hand. If you choose not to, +2 power. Ugh. So that's Batman's ability from the first game, and we've just seen it wreck games. Play Batman, there's 5 equipment out there, and we've just seen it ruin games. Absolutely ruin games. So that doesn't really impress me. Batman's ability from Forever Evil, where you get to play equipment cards from the universal discard pile, I think works really well. This makes me nervous. You may gain all the equipment from the lineup and put 1 into your hand. In theory, that may be no equipment or 1 or 2 equipments, but surprisingly, in our games, we've seen it end up being 4 or 5 equipment, none of which really suck. So that worries me. Next is Harvest. First appearance attack. Each player puts a hero they control or in their hand into the lineup. He's worth 5 victory points, takes 9 strength to defeat, and you may gain all heroes from the lineup and put 1 into your hand. See, I'm already not liking this game because of the villains. It's going to have a snowball effect. What I like about Forever Evil is we've had somebody beat half the heroes and still been very close. I think in this game, the first person to beat 1 or 2 villains is going to start snowballing with their card effects, and they're just going to start taking all the cards. Imagine getting. Well, we'll get into the Let's see. So he gives you all the heroes. Let's just say there's not even that many. There's one hero. Let's look at the most expensive one, Vic Stone. So you get a 7-cost card for free, and draw a card for each different ongoing card you control. And that's if it's just him. There's potentially many others. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays. You never know how things are going to be until you play it. But I'm not going to lie, these cards are shaping up to not impress me just because of the potential snowball effect they may have. Next is Sheh. She has a first appearance attack. Each player puts a card with a cost of 1, 2, or 3 they control or in their hand in the lineup if you cannot gain a weakness. She's worth 5 victory points and takes 10 power to defeat. You may gain a 1, 2, and 3 cost card from the lineup and put them into your hand. If you choose not to, plus 3 power. The fact that it's 1, 2, and 3, I guess keeps it reasonable, but you're still potentially gaining 3 cards. Odds are you won't. I think this is a much better ability than the cards we've seen so far. Aside from Deathstroke, he wasn't too bad. Simon. First appearance ability. Each player chooses 2 cards in their hand. Pass each other card to the player to your left. Ooh. That's gross. He's worth 5 victory points, takes 10 power to defeat. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and play 2 of them, then put the rest back in any order. That's not terrible. I don't mind that ability. Terra. First appearance attack. Each player destroys a card they control. If they destroy no cards this way, gain a weakness. So pretty much it's going to... because nobody's going to have any cards in play when Terra comes out. So you're going to have ongoing cards. And if you do have an ongoing card, you're going to have to destroy one of them. Or you're going to have to gain a weakness. 5 victory points, 10 to defeat. Ongoing. Once during each of your turns, you may destroy a card you played this turn. Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome card destruction every turn. Very neat. The Brain and Monsieur Mala. First appearance attack. Each player flips their superhero face down until this villain is defeated. 5 victory points, 10 strength. When you play him, draw 2 cards, and defense. You may reveal this card to avoid an attack. I like this card. I think that's the best one so far. Nice, reasonable abilities. Very useful abilities. Blackfire. First appearance attack. Each player puts a superpower they control or in their hand into the lineup. 6 victory points, 11 strength to defeat. You may gain all superpowers from the lineup, but 1 in your hand if you not see another just ridiculously overpowered Superman. I'm not loving it. Brother Blood. First appearance attack. Each player puts a villain they control in their hand in the lineup. 6 victory points, 11 power. You may gain all the villains. Not a lot of creativity went into these villains either. I think they're grossly overpowered, to be frank. Dr. Light, plus 1 power for each different color among the cards in play. I think we've already discussed there's maybe 7, because weaknesses are green. First appearance attack, each player gains a weakness. If one or more players avoids this attack, reveal a new supervillain, and then shuffle this villain into the supervillain stack. That's kind of neat. 6 victory points, 12 to defeat. So that's actually not bad. That's a pretty cool ability. Superboy Prime. 6 victory points, 12 to defeat. First appearance attack, each player reveals the top 3 cards of their deck. Pass 1 to the discard pile on the player on your left. Destroy 1 and discard 1. Yuck. When you play him, plus 2 power, you may swap your current superhero for one outside the game. It's not bad. I can get behind that. And Trigon. 6 victory points, 13 to defeat. He has an ongoing stack ability. At the start of each player's turn, that player gains a weakness and then puts a 0-cost card from their discard pile on top of their deck. Gives you impetus to try to beat him quick. I don't necessarily mind that, especially since he's the last villain. But some of these, the Clock King, Harvest, Blackfire, and Brother Blood, though, they gain all of any type of card, especially since I don't know. I'm not loving it at all. Next, we'll take a look at weakness cards just to see what kind of art they use. Looks like just Impulse getting electrocuted or something. Next, we've got vulnerabilities, which are kind of cool looking. It's like Raven going all dark side on Wonder Girl. It's kind of cool. Kicks. It's like Red Robin kicking somebody. And punches, Wonder Girl punching somebody. It's all very cool, all very themely. I've unfortunately lost a lot of my steam after seeing some of those villains. I know not all of them will come into play. It's not like the Superman and Batman in the main set, so maybe it'll be a little different. But I can't stand that take all of one thing. Alright, next we're going to take a look at the equipment cards. So we've got the Birdarang. Shows Damian Wayne Robin. Equipment, if you control a hero, plus 2 power. That's kind of cool. I like how you have to have a hero to make this work, so it shows them actually using the Birdarang. It's kind of neat. We get a couple of those. The Colony Suit. Equipment, plus 1 power. You may discard an ongoing card you control if you do an additional plus 2 power. That's kind of cool. Maybe a couple of those. Magic Bracers. Equipment, plus 1 power and defense. You discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, put an ongoing card from your discard pile into your hand. They give you quite a few of those. Cybernetic Enhancement with just terrible art. Oh, I should be telling you how much it costs. This costs 3. Plus 1 power for each ongoing card you control. Not bad. Detonator. Costs 3. Equipment. Ongoing. You may discard this card from play. If you do, destroy a card in your discard pile. Ooh, I really like that one. That's very useful. Card destruction is always useful. Card destruction you can control is amazing. That is well worth the 3 points that it'll cost. I don't see that lasting a go around the table. At least at my table. Someone's going to snatch that right up. Flight Wings, 4 strength, plus 2 power. You may put cards you buy or gain this turn on top of your deck. Not bad. It's like an Aquaman's Trident. Always good to be able to put something on the top of your deck. They give you 3 of those. Cloak of Raven. 5 to purchase. Equipment, plus 2 power. And an additional plus 1 power for each different superpower you control. That's pretty good. Got out of hand pretty quick if you get a lot of superpowers. Lasso of Lightning. 5 to buy. Equipment, plus 1 power. You may put an ongoing card from your discard pile into your hand. I guess I don't have any experience with the ongoing card, so I guess we'll have to see. Silent Armor, 6 to buy. Equipment, draw a card. You may discard an ongoing card you control. If you do, gain the top card of the main deck and put it in your hand. It's always rough. It's always a gamble. You could get something awesome. You could get something just totally not worth it. There are 2 of those. The T-Wing, plus 2, 6 the cost, plus 2 power. At the end of the game, this card is worth 1 victory point for each different card with the cost of 2 or less in your deck. Not terrible. Really good if you get it early in the game, so you can plan for that. And Reach Scarab, 7 to buy, plus 3 power, defense. You may discard this to avoid an attack. If you do, draw 2 cards, and you may put an ongoing card from your discard pile into play. Wow. Expensive, but not a bad ability. So the equipment cards weren't too bad. I didn't have any real problems with anything I saw there. Next we have Heroes. Arsenal, cost 1. You pay 2 less to defeat the supervillain this turn. I think that works well. And it's very reminiscent of Green Arrow's ability, I think it is. Where I think he lets you pay 4 less. Bumblebee, I actually have no idea who that is. She costs 2, is ongoing. You may discard this card from play if you do plus 1 power. Well, that's never bad. Be able to save power for a future turn. Ravager, who I think looks cool in the comics. I don't think she looked that cool in the Arrow TV show. 2 to buy, plus 1 power. If you control 1 or more ongoing cards, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Again, card destruction's never a bad thing, especially cheap card destruction that is useful even without the card destruction. Solstice, 2 to buy, hero, plus 1 power. If you control superpower, draw a card. So not terrible. Cheap, and she gives you card advantage. Aqualad, 3 to buy. Ongoing, you may discard this card from play. If you do, put a card with a cost of 5 or less from your discard pile on top of your deck. Not bad. Let you use something twice, because you could play something, use him, put it on top of your deck, use it next turn. Jericho, 3 to buy, plus 1 power, choose a foe. Attack, gain the game text of that foe's superhero this turn. Well, that's not bad. I'm glad to see an attack that's more than just give them a weakness or make them discard cards. Miss Martian, 3 to buy, plus 1 power. If this is the first card you played this turn, I'll shoot you the Batmobile. Well, not really. If this is the first card you play, set your hand aside, draw 5 cards. At the end of your turn, put the set aside. At the end of your turn, put the set aside cards on top of your deck. Oh. So you'll get your hand back next turn. It's an interesting twist. Jamie Reyes, plus 2 power. Defense, you may put this card from your hand into play to avoid an attack. Wow. And then if you do, play it next turn. So you get to play it and then you get to use it. So that's not a bad ability. My only problem is that you can also be Jamie Reyes as a hero. I don't like the... we call them avatar cards because they're representative of your character. You know, it's like if somebody buys this card and I'm playing Blue Beetle, why am I going to help them? It's kind of a thematic break for me. Bunker, 4 cost. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Put 1 of each type into your hand. Discard the rest. Not terrible. Not terrible, thankfully there's only 1 of them. Hawk and Dove, 4 cost, plus 2 power. If there are 2 copies of the same card in play, additional plus 1 power. Potentially plus 3. I don't know, it's alright, I guess. More often than not, it's an expensive kick. Static, 4 cost, plus 2 power. You may discard an ongoing card you control. If you do, an additional plus 1 power and destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. That's not bad. 2 of those. Cassie Sandmark, again, Wonder Girl. Five cost, plus 2 power, and additional plus 1 power for each different equipment you control. Beast Boy, Garfield Logan. 5 cost, ongoing. During each of your turns, choose a card type. The next card you play or discard this turn also has that card type. And what was his ability again? Once during each turn, you may discard a card. If you do, put a non-starter card with that type. So he works really well with his regular card, with his hero card. Coriander, Starfire, 5 cost. Put a superpower from the lineup into your hand. If you cannot draw a card, Jesus. Connor Kent, put 2 superpowers from your discard pile into your hand. I like that. That's a really good ability. Dick Grayson, plus 2 power at the end of this game. This card is worth 1 victory point for each different ongoing card in your deck. 6 cost to buy. I like those trick victory point cards. I think they can help you win the game very easily. Tim Drake, 6 cost. Put a hero from your discard pile into your hand. Gain an equipment from the lineup. Daughter of Trigon, hero, 7 cost. You pay 1 less to defeat villains and supervillains this turn for each different card type you control. And Cyborg, Big Stone. Draw a card for each different ongoing effect you control. Not bad. Couple of iffy cards. What my group will probably end up doing with the cards that they're heroes for. We saw in one of the books they gave an option where you set aside the card. So like you'd set aside the Garfield Logan card for Beast Boy. You put it under your hero, and that counts as being in the lineup for you and only you to buy. That help gets around that thematic disconnect that kind of bugs me. So that's probably what we'll do. The doubles of those, we'll probably take out the doubles and replace them with cards from the other sets. Next we have locations. This ought to be interesting. The Titans Memorial, 4 cost, ongoing. The first time you destroy a card during each of your turns, draw a card. And we've seen there's quite a bit of card destruction, so very useful. Azarath, 5 cost, ongoing. Once during each of your turns, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, attack, each foe discards a card. Wow. So you can get rid of garbage and force everybody else to potentially not get rid of garbage. Get rid of something good. New Titans Tower, 5 cost, ongoing. The first time you play an ongoing card, including this one, during each of your turns, draw a card. The Colony, 5 cost. When you destroy a card, you may place it under this card. You may discard cards under the Colony as though they were ongoing cards you control. Let's see if they have a frequently asked question about that, just so we're all on the same page for it. They do a good job of giving better definitions for potentially confusing or controversial cards. And they actually do. Cards under this card may only be used to pay costs on the other cards, such as Colony Suit, Silent Armor, etc. It does not replace a self-referential discard like a Lady Vic. You discard these cards to your own discard pile so they are no longer destroyed. If the Colony leaves play, discard all cards underneath it. So that's pretty good. It allows you to pay the prices of other ongoing cards, which is very neat. Cadmus Labs, 6 cost, ongoing. Once during each of your turns, choose a hero or villain with cost 3 or less you control. Put it in your hand. Wow. So there's actually a couple of good cards that make you want to build a low-cost deck, if you can get them. Tamarin, 6 cost, ongoing. Once during each of your turns, you may discard the top card of your deck. If you do, plus power equal to the card's VP value. Asterisk equal 3. It's not bad. So locations are very neat. They generally do a good job of making the locations interesting. Next, we have superpowers. We'll do superpowers, then just the villains. Alright, so we've got Acrobatic Agility. 1 cost, plus 1 power with defense. You may discard this card to avoid an attack. Shapeshift, 2 cost, plus 1 power. This card has all card names and is also a hero, villain, and an equipment while you own it. And we've seen a lot of cards that require specific card types, so that's pretty good. Molecular Vibration, 3 cost. Ongoing, you may discard this card from play. If you do, draw a card. That's pretty good. Lets you get a card advantage on another turn. My problem with Impulse in the hero game is you're discarding him to draw a card. In my opinion, he's literally a waste of space. He just replaces himself. And unless you're playing the Flash, which gives you benefits for drawing cards, absolutely pointless. Energy Absorption, cost 4, draw a card, then you may destroy a card in your hand. Well, it's not bad. Again, card destruction is always good. Geokinesis, 4 cost, plus 2 power and choose a foe. Attack, put an ongoing card that foe controls into their discard pile. Not bad. Azeroth, Metreon Zinthos, 5 cost, ongoing, you may discard this card from play. If you do, put a card with cost 4 or less from your discard pile into your hand. Card retrieval is generally pretty good. Demonic Influence, 5 cost, plus 2 power, plus an additional plus 1 power for each different villain you control. Tactile Telekinesis, 6 cost, ongoing, the first time you play a superpower during each of your turns, reveal the top card of your deck, you may destroy it. The fact that it's ongoing, I like. I like these ongoing cards. They make cards like this very worth it, whereas before, if it was just show the top card of your deck, you may destroy it. Yeah, I don't know. The Speed Force, plus 2 power and draw 2 cards. Really good. Even though it costs 7. And for 8, you've got Teen Titans Go, plus 2 power, put all ongoing cards from your discard pile into your hand. It's not bad. We haven't seen a whole lot of over-the-top power generating cards. There's no plus 4 or plus 5 powers straight out. There are a couple that could potentially generate that, but most cards are plus 1 or plus 2, so it's a very low generating game, which is kind of neat. Next, we have the villains. Hive Agents cost 1 if you control another villain, plus 2 power. So if you're building a villain deck, they're cheap kicks and count as a villain. Gizmo, 2 cost, plus 1 power. If you control an equipment, draw a card. Three of him. Zookeeper, 2 cost, ongoing defense. You may discard this card's play to avoid an attack. Wow. Having a ready defense. That's awesome. There's very little worse than having a defense in your hand, not using it, going through your turn on the next turn, needing a defense. Lady Vic, ongoing. You may discard this card from play. If you do, plus 2 power. Cost 4. Oh, she's ongoing. The ongoing is very neat. They may help make up for the fact that a lot of the cards are low power generating. Mad Mod, 3 cost, plus 2 power. You may discard an ongoing card you control. If you do, choose a foe and attack. That foe gains a weakness. Plasmus, 3 cost, plus 2 power. You may discard an ongoing card you control. If you do, draw a card. Cinderblock, 3 power, draw a card. You may put a defense card from your discard pile on top of your deck. Wow. That's really good. Phobia, 4 cost, plus 2 power. Attack. Each foe discards a card from their hand into the discard pile of any player other than the attacker and anyone who avoided this. Oh, it's the same thing. It's a Shimmer. 4 cost, plus 2 power. Attack. Each foe destroys a starter in their hand or discard pile. Each who does gains a weakness. Weird, but kind of cool. Grant Wilson, 5 cost, plus 2 power, and an additional plus 1 power for each hero you control. Mammoth, 5 cost, plus 2 power. Defense, you may discard this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, draw 2 cards, and you may destroy a starter card in your hand or discard pile. I'm always a fan of a defense, and a defense that also includes card destruction is phenomenal. A defense that includes card drawing and card destruction is also phenomenal. Double phenomenal. Inertia, 6 cost, ongoing. Once during each of your turns, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw a card. That's not bad because it lets you replace a garbage card, I guess, and it's ongoing. I guess that's the best part about it. Jinx, 6 cost, +1 power, and draw a card. Attack, each foe discards an ongoing card they control. Match, 7, +2 power, and choose a foe. Attack, gain control of each ongoing card that foe controls. At the end of the turn, return each one still in play to that foe. And Sons of Trigon, 7 cost, +3 power. Attack, each foe discards a card from their hand. If a foe avoids this attack, they gain a weakness. Ooh, that's rough. Well, that's all the cards for the Teen Titans deck building game. My overall thoughts are hopeful. I'd very much like to have a hero game for my group to be able to play. That said, there are some cards that make me nervous. The cards that let you just take all the cards in the lineup. The cards that just give you cards from the lineup. Always dangerous. Always potentially game upsetting. But maybe they're more controlled since they're villains their heroes are villains in this game you have to defeat. Unfortunately, some are fairly low level, so your odds are you're going to face them early on. At least the way we do villains. I don't know. I guess we'll have to play a few games and see what my final verdict is. I don't know that it's going to replace Forever Evil as our favorite Cryptozoic deck building game, but I think it has more potential than the other hero games. It's got a lot of neat mechanics. I'm really anxious to see how these ongoing cards make the game feel. I think it's going to feel very different. I think it's going to be very unique. I think it also means that you can't really combine this set with other sets or modify this set with cards from other sets too much without diluting that ongoing card effect. Which unfortunately means I hope they end up, if we like this game, we're going to end up hoping they do Teen Titans specific expansions. I kind of wish they'd just do a 2.0. One thing that bugs me with all the DC games, they have this generic Cerberus engine back. Now this was because they had initially anticipated all their deck building games being cross-compatible, but they decided not to go that way when they did their first Lord of the Rings game, and Lord of the Rings have a nice Lord of the Rings themed back, whereas we have this garbage. So I kind of wish they'd just suck it up, do a 2.0 of their deck building game for DC, give it a nice custom back, clean up the mechanics a little bit, learn from the errors that they've stumbled upon in the first. I think Cryptozoic makes some of my favorite deck building games. They're fast, they're fun, they're easy to get into. Legendary is good, but it takes some setup. There's some thematic elements I don't care for. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for Teen Titans. We're probably going to play it this Sunday. Maybe that night or the next day I'll do a recap, let you know how the game went. So hope you enjoyed this unboxing / discussion on the Teen Titans deck building game. Thank you.